there, I'm Miss Laura with the Wichita Falls Arts Council, and today we are going to do an art exercise using a page from a calendar. I'm going to use it for the picture, and a half sheet of these color coding dot stickers found at office supply stores. And we are going to use these dot stickers to create a swarm of dots that travel through whatever landscape or photo we have and interact with things that are inside of the picture. So if I look at these dots, they start from this bottom left corner, and it looks like they're traveling up, they're looping around, and then traveling behind this lighthouse as part of the image. And we can see that the dots are traveling in a specific way because of how they're grouped together. And we're using something called an implied line. So even though there isn't a solid line that I've drawn with a marker or something else showing that they're coming up and looping around, by the way that we've grouped these dots together, it gives us the idea that there's a line that they're traveling in. And that's what we mean by implied line, not a solid line actually existing, but the idea of the line. And these dots give us a clue as to where that line is. This one, we have a tropical beach scene where these pink dots have started from the bottom of the page. They've traveled behind this first palm tree here. And then they come out and travel in front of the second palm tree. And then behind it again, and then they exit towards the top. On this one, we have another lighthouse. And it appears that the dots have emerged from this Sharpie portal. And they drop down, they go behind this building here. And then they re-emerge on the other side of this lighthouse. They come up and then exit out the bottom. Another palm tree where they start on, they start at the top left corner, they travel behind this palm tree, they loop around, and then they exit towards the right. These dots seem to be traveling in a much more simple line where they start on the left, they duck behind this lighthouse, and then they exit out of the bottom right corner. And in this one, we see that the lines, or the implied line, doesn't start at a border. It starts behind something in the picture, and that's the horizon line, the line between the sky and the ocean here. So they emerge from that horizon, go behind this lighthouse, and then a little difficult to see, but they come down and exit in front of this house on the bottom right. And then these blue dots here are really interacting with this lighthouse on this page. They come out of this pile of rocks, and then they travel to the right, in front of the lighthouse, behind it, in front of, behind it, and then exit out of the top, swirling around the lighthouse. So here's my blank calendar page. I'm going to start by looking at what's going on in my picture, and everyone's picture is going to be a little bit different. So I have some rocks here, I have a building here, another lighthouse, and a big open sky. So I'm going to try to think of a starting point or identify where I can start my dot line. And I can start at one of the borders, I can start behind something, and then try to figure out where I want it to travel throughout my picture. And there's nowhere specific I think I like, or I would like for it to travel from. So I think I'm going to draw a portal, have it coming from the sky, and I'm just going to do that by drawing an oval with a Sharpie. And I'm just going to pretend that my dots are falling out of the sky. Okay. So instead of just sticking a bunch of dots in random places, I want to establish a direction that they're going in. And I'm going to do that by first making a preliminary line. So just a really basic line with very few dots, just enough to tell me where they're traveling. So I'll start here at this portal where I want them to start from, and I'm just going to put just enough dots so that I can see where my dots are traveling. And I can trace around with my picture or with my finger through the picture. So I think I'm going to have them come down and then go behind this lighthouse, and then maybe just exit out the bottom. So I'm going to put just enough dots to show that they're traveling in that direction. And then I can fill in later. I want them to go behind my lighthouse, so I'm not going to stick a dot on my lighthouse. I'll just skip it and place a dot where the line continues. And once I establish my line with a simple trail of dots, then I can really start filling in, just adding big clusters of dots and really make it look like a swarm. I'm going to try to use this entire sheet of stickers. So there should be 204, which gives us 204 little decisions to make. So there, I have just enough dots to show where my line is going. And now I start to fill in. When I'm going behind an object, to really give the idea that the dots are traveling behind it, one thing you could do is to take a pair of scissors and then cut one of the dots in half. And I like to do this while my dots are still on the paper. Peel half of that dot up and then stick it so that the cut edge of my dot lines up exactly with the object that I'm trying to make it travel behind. So I'm taking my half dot and I'm lining up edge to edge. So now if I look at it, my dot appears to be hiding, or half of it seems to be hiding behind my lighthouse. I'm going to keep filling in with dots, and I like to work with the whole line all at once instead of just only working on this area, putting a bunch of dots and moving on to the next. I find it helpful to try to work on the whole line at one time. So if I've just put a dot over here, I might put a dot over here next. And they can all be traveling at the same width where there's an even swarm of dots going through our photo. Or we can make it so that our swarm of dots gets thin in some areas and then they widen out, get thin again. And same thing with this portal. I can make it appear as if they're really coming out of this portal by hiding half a dot, by cutting it. And lining it with the top edge of my portal, but it really looks like it's falling out of it. And it's okay if the dots touch each other. Some of them can overlap. Then it looks like some are traveling in front of other dots. I finished my sticker sheet and my line is complete.